Hello everyone and welcome to today's tutorial. I'm Susan from Tiara Lace Crochet and today I'd like to share with you how to crochet this lovely textured combination of stitches that I've put together to come up with a little baby blanket. You can use these stitches in any combination you wish, but this is the one I've chosen to do and I'm really happy with it, especially with this particular yarn. It is by HAYFIELD from their Baby Blossom Chunky range, and I've used a 6.5mm hook, and I've used about 4 or 5 balls so far. No, 4. I think the whole blanket's going to take about 5. So here we have the different shades from their range. I think I've got most shades in here. I've really mixed them up quite a lot, but it's one of those patterns that you can do in plain or whichever you prefer, variegated yarn. I think the reason I chose the cross double crochets is because I wanted a balance between the more compact stitches and then a little bit of open, but not too open. So here it is worked using just a white double knit, as you can see here. This is how it works, using just a plain colour. And if you wish, you don't have to pop as many single crochet rows between. You can just perhaps do a row of single crochet, then your bobble stitches, a row of single crochet, then your cross double crochets, whichever you prefer. In fact, I've got one tiny swatch here where I did just that. Let's have a look. It's really tiny, but there you get a more open, and I pop the bobbles a little closer to each other. But this is the one we're concentrating on today. Hope you like it, and just let's get started. We're using a 6.5mm hook and a chunky yarn. Start with a slip knot on your hook and chain 18. The pattern is worked in multiples of 4 plus 2. So go ahead and complete 18 chains. Once you've worked your 18 chains, ignore the loop on your hook, skip the first chain and into the top loop of the second chain from your hook, work a single crochet. And then work a single crochet into each chain until you reach the end of the row, and you should have a total of 17 single crochets. So when you reach the end of row 1, pop a single crochet into that very last chain. Just turn your work and into that very first stitch, work a single crochet. Into the next stitch, work one more single crochet. Now we're going to work our first bobble stitch. To work the bobble stitch, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch along, going under both loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And you repeat this 4 more times. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And once more, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you'll have 6 loops on your hook. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. And then into the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops on your hook. And that's how you make your bobble stitch. Now we need to work a total of 3 single crochets between bobbles. So we've already done 1, so we'll do a second single crochet and our 3rd single crochet. We're going to work another bobble stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook just like we did before, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, all in the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Here we've only got 2, 4, 5, so we know we need to do 1 more. Only 5 loops on our hook, I should say. Now we've got 6 loops, yarn over, pull through all 6, and in the next stitch along, a single crochet. And as we need 3 single crochets in total, there's our 2nd and our 3rd. And now we work another bobble stitch. Now we've got a total of 6 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 6. And you'll find that the bobble pushes through or curls over as you do your single crochet in the next stitch. So another 2 single crochets. And our last bobble. And then we single crochet into the last 2 stitches of row 2. You'll find that last stitch just here. There's a little bar in front of it. This is the reverse. There we go. So just turn your work. Keep this stitch a little looser and work a single crochet into the first stitch and into each stitch along. If you just nudge that bobble to one side, you'll find that next stitch just there. And likewise, if you just turn the bobble down a little, you'll see the next stitch just behind it here. And then we can see these stitches quite easily. And you just continue like this to the end. You see that little bar there? You know your last stitch is just here, but go under both loops of the stitch. Okay, so that's the end of row 3. This is how it's looking. Next, just turn our work and work a row of single crochets all the way along. So go ahead with your single crochets and I'll meet you at the end of row 4. Once you've reached the end of this row, just check you still have 17 stitches and then turn your work and work one more row of single crochets. So this is the end of row 5. Again, just look for that little bar there for the last stitch. Turn your work a little and go under both loops of that last stitch and work a single crochet. Now we're ready to do our row of crossed double crochets. Okay, so first of all, chain 2, turn your work. Now this chain 2 isn't going to count as a stitch, and to balance things out we're not skipping any chains here or stitches, so this end of the row 6 doesn't quite match the end of row 6 over here, but don't worry about that because that means we can actually do a row of crossed double crochets to work it into this pattern for it to look as good as we can get it. So work a double crochet, skip that first stitch into the next stitch under both loops. And then work a double crochet into this first stitch here. So you're crossing over that double crochet. Don't do it too tight and complete your double crochet. Now we're going to skip this one, the next one along, and go into that next one. So skip one and double crochet in the next stitch. Now double crochet in the skip stitch. Again, don't work too tightly. Make sure you don't inadvertently go and skip that because that's got a double crochet in it already. Skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next. Now we're going to double crochet in our skipped stitch. This is how it's looking. So continue, skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. Then double crochet into your skip stitch, crossing over the first double crochet. And once again, you can see here that you've gone into this stitch because you've got 2 vertical bars just there. So skip the next stitch and double crochet in the next one. And double crochet in the skipped stitch. Skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. double crochet in the skipped stitch. Skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in your skipped stitch, skip a stitch, double crochet in your next stitch, and double crochet in your skipped stitch. So this is where this end doesn't quite balance the other end, but not to worry, it means we can do our rows of bobble stitches and it all works out fine. So we're going to work into the next stitch, just one double crochet, going under both loops of that last stitch with a double crochet. And that's how it's looking. Next, turn your work, and we're now going to work a row of single crochets. Now, to get these crossed double crochets to stand out a bit better, you can go straight into that first space with a single crochet, and then between your double crochets just here you can pop a single crochet, and then in this space here a single, in the space there a single, and just in there a single. Now quite often you'll see that you can work into the tops of the stitches here like so, and that does look nice. In fact, I've done it on my blanket, but then I've changed my mind and done it this way that I've just shown you. You can see they stand out a little more, so it's entirely up to you whichever way you prefer to do it. So we now just work into the space there, all the way along, with single crochets. So once you've really got the hang of how to do the cross double crochets and the bobbles, you'll be well away with this and you'll find it a joy to work. And in between each row we've just got 3 rows of single crochets. So go into the last space here and you'll find you've still got 17 stitches. That's how it's looking. So now we're going to do our second row of single crochets. Go ahead. So remember what I said earlier, we have 3 rows of single crochets between our bobble stitches and our cross double crochets. So we're at the end of the second row of single crochets. Just check you still have 17 single crochets. Turn your work and work straight into that stitch with a single, and then into each of the next 16 stitches pop single crochets. This is how it's looking. So this is the front of your work, and you'll be making the actual bobble stitches and the crossed double crochets when the back of the work is facing you. So I've just completed the third of the single crochet rows, and actually this is row 9. Now turn your work and we start again with a bobble stitch row. So single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then work your bobble stitch just as we did on the previous row. Just rewind the video as you need to if you want a slower recap for how to do this stitch. So we've got 6 loops, yarn over, pull through, and then works 3 single crochets, or a single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Then your bobble and 3 single crochets. So go ahead and repeat that to the end of the row. So when you've completed your last bobble stitch, you just do 2 single crochets at the end of the row. So at the beginning and the end of the row of bobbles, you do 2 at the beginning, 2 single crochets, and 2 at the end, but you pop 3 single crochets in between the bobbles. Okay, so this is how it's looking. You go ahead now and work 3 rows of single crochets, and you'll be ready to do your cross stitch row again. So continue with this, working your 3 rows of single crochets, and I'll meet you when you've finished that. So here we've done the 3 rows of single crochets after the bobble row, and next we're going to start with 2 chains, turn our work, and remember those 2 chains don't count as a stitch, so we're going to skip this first stitch and do a double crochet in this next stitch. And we're going to double crochet in that very first stitch here. Then we're going to skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next, and double crochet in that skipped stitch. So go ahead with this until you reach the very last stitch. So we're at the last stitch and we just do a double crochet in that very last stitch. But if you wanted to change your colour, don't complete your double crochet. Just work like so, and then get your new yarn and leave a tail end long enough to weave in, and yarn over with your new yarn and pull through. Then we're going to turn our work and start with the the single crochets. So single crochet in that first stitch, and then single crochet, we were going to do a single crochet in the spaces to get the more pronounced effect to the crossed double crochets. We'll get there in a minute. Right, so go straight into that space, yarn over, pull through, and we can complete a row now of single crochets in the spaces between the cross stitches and into the cross stitch itself. And that's how it's looking. And then what I would normally do is just gently tie these and then weave them in. You could crochet over them because you work in a row of singles. It's entirely up to yourselves. Right, so that's how you change the colours. That's all there is to the pattern. So we can see that it's just a row of bobbles, 3 single crochet rows, a row of cross double crochets, 3 single crochet rows, row of bobbles, etc, etc. And it's up to yourselves where you finish off. So I'm going to finish off with a bobble row and just 1 row of single crochets when I finish my blanket. Okay, so hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you soon. In the meantime, take care. Bye for now.